I'm standing here on the red carpet with John Klassen. He's this year's Caldecott medalist, the winner of the big award for This Is Not My Hat. John, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay.
I'm glad to hear it. It's a good night. So I have some questions for you. What's it been like for the last 6 months for you since you found out about this?
I got an email from Erin Stead when it happened, and she won it a few years ago for her book, and she said, like, just get ready because it's going to be insane. And I was like, oh, Erin, you're so cute. It won't. No. And it's just, of course, now my email inbox hasn't recovered quite yet. Nothing's recovered. It's just been, it's insane. You spend sort of your spare time trying to get your head around it, and you can't quite. And then things like this happen, and you begin to realize it actually really did happen.
It's a dream, right, for any illustrator or author to win one of these big awards. So I'm wondering, like, now you've achieved this dream really early in your career. So are you going to go about are you going to try and reset your dreams now? And how I think you might go about that?
I don't know. I'm not sure. That's one of the questions. Is I'm not sure if you wonder about resetting your dreams as much, but you do wonder about if it's going to get messed up in your head when you start to work again, like when you must start to make books, whether it's going to have this weird weight to it now. And I'm hoping I can clean my head up a little bit and sort of put it, on the shelf and be like, all right, next book. Don't feel like you have to live up to this crazy thing that's happened. You feel like you want to, but I don't know if there's extra pressure or anything. I think that you just try and live up to the award that was given. You try and sort of honor it in the work going forward to make him feel good about having chosen you.
You won not only the medal, but you also won an honor for your book, Extra Yarn, which was written by Mac Barnett. Yeah. And so, first of all, just to let the viewers out there know, I think it's the first time that's happened since 1947 or something like that.
Yeah, I looked it up just to see what it was, and it was Leonard Weisgard, who's one of my favorite old illustrators, and the book that he medaled for that year was The Little Island, which was one of my favorite books ever. It was great, and I couldn't all of the history of that just fell on me at once when that happened. It's just the weight of it just like a sandbag on top of me. It was crazy, but no, yeah, that's how it went.
That is giving me chills. So I want to know a little bit about working in collaboration with Mac. How did that come about, and how closely did you two work together?
We're pretty close in general, and so we do talk about things a lot. With the book, he sort of wrote it based on an illustration I had before that he had seen, and it was just sort of a setup with a little girl wearing a sweater and a dog wearing the same sort of knitted sweater, and the illustration was called Extra Yarn, and he saw it and just blew up a whole story about it just right away, or not right away, but I think it occurred to him pretty quickly. And after that, it was sort of he sort of had to give it to me because it would have been sort of rude otherwise. But also, it was just, we're so tonally on board with the same thing, especially given the illustration started with something we both sort of liked, that I think tonally it was a really easy collaboration. We solved some problems along the way. Of course, editorial was in on it as well, and so there was sort of a three-way conversation. But me and Mac just line up on so many things that I think even if we hadn't talked over certain problems, we would agree with each other anyway. We're just really close that way. Yeah.
So given that, I wonder, it's really unusual for the author and the illustrator these days to collaborate like that. And I just did I was just on a panel talking about Sendak, and Sendak found that really abhorrent. He thought that the author and illustrator should work together because that's what his earliest experiences were, and he felt like he learned from that. So I'm just wondering if you have any thoughts about the current situation where they try to keep them apart, and if you think it's better, worse, or kind of a wash, or what?
Yeah, I go both ways on it because I've had really good experiences with both sides of it. I've done books with authors that I haven't talked to at all, except at the end after the project was finished, and I definitely understood why they left me alone with it and they didn't want to get into it. But I think it starts with however the book started. If the book started with the two of you talking it out, it sort of is assumed, or at least it'd be nice if you kind of moved forward with the book, talking it through all the way. But with books that start with somebody else working on their own, and they've kind of finished the thing, and I think they feel like it's complete, and they give it to you, then I can see where it makes, I don't think it's necessary, but it's definitely made sense to do it that way. I don't know if I have a preference just because I have had good experiences both ways. With Mac, I'd certainly always like to talk to him about things. I'd be sad if we didn't. But with other authors, I can see where it totally made sense. That's pretty diplomatic, but that's really the truth. That's
every time I've ever met you or seen you or talked to you, you're always wearing a hat, and I noticed tonight you're not. I'm wondering, did somebody steal your hat? Or
I have a hat with me. I got a Blackhawks hat that Chicago librarians gave me, and the whole Caldecott committee signed it. And so I have to wear it tonight during the dinner and stuff, but I figured I had to show up a little bit formal tonight. I usually wear a baseball cap, and it's not the most formal piece of clothing you can wear. I'm feeling a little bit out of place without it on, but later on I'll feel better with the hat back on.
In honor of your book, in honor of your winning book, if you could steal one object from another book in children's literature, what would that object be and why?
this is a big object and it'd be really, really mean, but I always liked Frog and Toad's houses. You know how small they always were? It looked like the door was like half the house, and he would go inside and it would be fine and be rooms and everything else, but the outside of the houses were so pleasant. They were like little loaves of bread or something. I think I would steal a whole house from there and live in that, probably. Yeah.
And if it happened to be in San Francisco, it'd probably worth, $200,000 for that little house.
Exactly, yeah.
So, thanks so much for stopping by the Red Carpet. It's great talking to you.
Thank you very much for having me. It was great.
Take care.
Thanks.
Take care.